Okay, so here's another crazy spot we've been trying to redo. Let's see. Waylon?
Hold on. I got Willie to go out, but he wouldn't go any farther than peeing, and I wasn't going to drag him out there. It's too cold.
Yeah, he'll be all right. He'll go if he wants to go. So we did a lot when she was in the crate. Always cool coming out, right? And then coming to here, it was always the sit and wait real good. And then, so what happened is when I started free roaming her, even at first it was only going out group 3 times because I didn't want it to get where it ended up getting, right? So I've done a few things. The problem with her, she's very food motivated, but she's also what we call a dopamine junkie, right? So she gets super excited about the food. So sometimes when we're doing these calm things, it kind of backfires. Now, part of that could be that I was thinking about this earlier, like sometimes things get worse before they get better, right? So sometimes maybe I'm not given the kind of the food thing enough of a chance, but I've just seen like sometimes when I, with a few dogs, when you use food, they go from like a good, like this, to like, right? Like that. And there are some places where she gets like that. So at first, this is what I was doing. When I would take the boys in the morning, right? So see, I would just ignore. Then it started getting to where she's pushing in front of everybody, right? So if I was to go for Waylon, for a while, she was pushing all in front of everybody, and she'd get a little big old happy butt flapping around, pushing everybody around, right? Look at, can you see it? Do I have it where you can see her tail? I didn't have it on the food thing yesterday enough, but her little tail just gets going. So, and it's hard. So initially I tried the ignoring thing, right? That's a good girl. See, so usually you don't want to do affection because it brings them up, but it's hard to use food with her in certain spots because she goes up with the food. Usually the affection makes you go up. The food will make her go up in certain things. Did I turn this down enough? They get mad with the volume. What's the other thing? She's a space invader, like food-wise. So that's another thing. Oh, okay, let's just finish the door real quick. So you're such a good dog. Right? She's being so good. You're being so good. So let's see what happens. Right? So a lot of times when I'm going to put the other leashes on, she's like, hey, me, right? So Willie, I need you to move out of the way for a second. So look, as soon as I get hers, you see how she comes up? So I think the best thing to do is put it back. Here, they gotta be able to see her. Scoot over here, Will. Come on. Do you want to go with them? Right. So, look, she's got her butt on the bed. So I was trying not to go back to the bed for everything, right? So as long as she was kind of cool over here, she started settling down, I'd ignore her. And sometimes I'd put the leash on first. Sometimes I'd put everybody else's on. And here's a big one too. When you take the leash and you go, watch that, buddy. Watch, she's gonna lean forward, right? You don't want to put it on then. So sometimes the problem with using the bed all the time is it ends up hurting to go to bed, right? Now, she chills most of the time. Like every once in a while, she's a little bit crazy, but she mostly just chills out. All right, so let's see. All right, so that was actually pretty good. I think that's what I was gonna say. I think what happened, the reason she started reaching, ready, sit. I think the reason she started reaching is because when she would be doing all this stuff and then I'd get her on the bed, I was trying to keep her there by using the food, right? And I think what happened is that started making her reach for the leash. So I stopped using the food. Nope. What you yelling about, girl? Right, so it's just, look, good job, right? So if she doesn't reach, I can give her the food and then hope that the next time that doesn't, right? But I think why she started reaching in the first place, part of it is she's anticipating she wants to go, yeah, put it on, let's go. But the other part is I was using the food, and even though I was having the leash over my hand here, she's trying to come forward and get the food. So it was bringing her forward, right? Was that everything I wanted to say? She needs to settle back, right? So every time she comes, and that's one thing I haven't been able to be real consistent about. Sometimes I gotta go, which doesn't help. So when she starts to lean forward, you either put the leash up or you just back up and stand there until she reaches back. Because if she's leaning forward, she's ready to go. And that was another part that I messed up is I have another downstairs door. So right here, as long as I was getting a little calm, I would open the door and then just let them go. So she would be settled, but as soon as I opened the door, I could say okay, and then she'd go flying. So I had to put a stop to that because there was just so much arousal in everything that she's doing. So I started having to walk her down the stairs by holding the leash, right? So what I was doing is getting a little bit of calm and then letting her go. And then downstairs I would do the same thing, right? And it would be calm, and then we'd go out the door and everything's good. But I think just the arousal in this hallway was bad, right? So at first she would run down the hall and she'd stay there and wait. And then she started running down the hall, then running back up, running back down, right? I mean, at first I thought it was maybe she had to potty really bad that time, but it became every time she was doing it, it was just an arousal thing. So she very easily gets overly aroused. So, giving her any kind of food with her, you want to really watch the arousal level that she's in, because she can be sitting here and seemingly calm. Like I didn't get it real good, but see, this is good. This is pretty nice and calm. Now look, as soon as my hand goes to my pocket, look how fast her tail starts going. Let's take my hand away. She settles down. Put my hand in. Look. All right. See how fast it starts going? You can do this. And just wait. It's all right. It's all. And the weird thing is when I started taking her with everybody more, the reactivity went down, but the arousal everywhere else went up. Like the arousal at the food was never there. Like in the crate, when I would feed her in the crate, she always had to be calm. I'd give her food, she'd eat her food. Coming out, she'd be calm. But once she was going out more, and then the leash reactivity is coming down to where she could easily be distracted away without freaking out or lunging, going to say hi, it popped up elsewhere. So it's just watching like every little thing, like it's little things are like, well, that's not a big deal right there. That's easily manageable, no big deal. And then all of a sudden it just, boom, it goes from a 2 or a 3 to a 7 to a 10, you know what I mean? So then the other one is releasing, like notice how everything that I was doing there is, and this is how I do everything is just real chill. Now sometimes she'll jump up kind of crazy. It hasn't been in a long time, But I had to be like, hey, right, and restrain her. Settle down, and then she'll be like, oh, okay. Right, so then here, when you release, it's just calm, right? Okay. Go ahead. Here we go.